Hello, hello. We are back talking about agents. And today I want to go over what does an agent actually do for an author. Now, in my last video, we discussed that typically you're looking for an agent if you are traditionally publishing. So within that context, let's think of an agent as kind of a gatekeeper for publishers. They don't work for publishers, but they are what publishers rely on to help lessen the load. So some publishers will not accept any submissions except through agents. Now, what does that mean? If you are looking at getting a traditional publishing deal, you will first have to impress an agent, someone who is an industry expert in some particular area or genre, maybe just generally. You will have to impress them in the way that they know you're a solid writer, you have a project that's not out there flooding the market, in a very saturated area. You are willing to do the hard work, etc. Agents are going to be the number one person that is going to judge your book, essentially judge your book. They are going to, out of the thousands of books that they get, out of the thousands of submissions they get every year, whittle that list down substantially by rejecting way more submissions than they accept. And out of the small batch that are accepted, an even smaller batch will get published. So the publishers rely on the agent to bring them the best of the best, to bring them the best submissions that they've seen. Then the publisher will decide whether or not that fits for them. Now, that's a different ballgame. We're going to continue talking about that. But I just want you to think of an agent as kind of the first level, the first filter, the first gatekeeper you have to pass through before you get the deal. The agent is not the one giving you the deal with the publisher. So what does an agent actually do for you if they don't get your book published, right? It's sort of like stop one on a two-part stop. So, like I mentioned, some publishers do not allow you to directly submit your manuscript. They call that direct submission or unagented submissions. They don't allow that because they trust that the agents are going to give them only the best. They don't want to open their floodgates. They're like, that's what the agents are getting paid for, to filter through and pick only the good ones. So what happens if you get through the filter of the agent and the agent says, yes, I will work with you? Typically, an agent's role is varied, okay? Depends on the book. But number one, they're going to offer you some guidance, some editorial guidance. They're going to review your manuscript and say, this one isn't working in this way. Here, let's shift this. Keep in mind, you're not hiring an editor, okay? You need to make sure that your manuscript is in tip-top condition before you get to an agent. But because the agents know the market so well, they may also know that a certain editor at a certain publishing house likes this or doesn't like that. So they may have you do some tweaking to your manuscript because they understand what may work in a particular place, with a particular editor, with a particular publisher. That doesn't mean necessarily that it's going to be the fix for your book all around, but maybe it is. So they may give you some editorial guidance. They may go through and make some markups. So essentially they're another pair of eyes, but they're a pair of expert eyes, and their eyes are trained in different ways than a copy editor, for example, or a line editor. Their eyes are trained to find what readers are looking for in the market in kind of more of that sales perspective, if you will, making your book more marketable, making it more viable to potential publishers. So that's number one. They're going to take a look at it and make suggestions. This may be a short process. It may be a lengthy process. So don't go in there expecting it to just be like hired and let's go find a publisher. It could be, but don't expect it. Just expect that the agent will take some time with the manuscript to get to know it. And then because they have made contacts or they have connections within the industry, they know they're not just going out there and dumping your manuscript into like this general pool of manuscripts for all the publishers to just check out. they will go to particular agents that they have, or editors that they have relationships with, or perhaps this agent specializes in the particular area that your memoir focuses on, and they know there are a couple select editors that will take these books every single time, or they know a particular publisher has really done well with these types of books. If they know that, they're going to utilize their knowledge. That's really what you pay for when you hire an editor or hire an agent. Their industry knowledge, their inside knowledge. They know these agents, they know the publishers. Yes, some agents are new, but they eventually will make these connections, and the new ones have some benefits. We're actually going to talk about that in a separate video because I want to help you figure out what to look for in an agent. But just to give you an idea, they will rely on their connections and the connections of connections, right? So that's one thing that they will help you do. They will help you decipher the terms of contracts. Have you ever tried to read a contract and all that lawyer language is like, you like, it's Greek. It's just some other foreign language. So these agents are trained in contractual language deciphering, if you will. They know what to look for. They know what these terms mean in plain English. They can help you negotiate contract terms. They can let you know, yeah, this one's standard, it's not worth the fight, or this publisher does that all the time, or okay, this one's, really trying to slide this one in and we should maybe push back on this. They will ask you kind of, what are your breaking points? Where do you say no? Where do you have some flexibility? As far as things like changing the title or cover design and, maybe changing the content and stuff. Maybe you have a desire to keep more creative license. If that's something you can build into the contract, the agent will help you do that, or help you understand why maybe that's not in your best interest. So they are representing you. They are working for you on your behalf to get you the best deal possible. And agents do not get paid until you get a contract. So their main job is to get you that contract so that they get paid. They have all of the incentive to do this for you. So getting through those contract details and making sure you understand what you're signing before you sign it, that's the role of an agent. You can ask them things like, well, how, within the contract, how does it work do I retain my rights? Or, what if the publisher wants to keep my rights and all of that? They can help you with that. If you want to buy back your rights later, the agents will help you understand how to do that. So they're the ones to go to when you're like, hey, I'm not even sure what I'm doing here. They help you figure that out. And then they go out and help figure out what's a good fit for your book. Now, if you don't have exclusive rights with a particular publisher, or you're looking at maybe other new projects, an agent might be able to help you with some of that stuff as well. So this isn't an exclusive list by any means, but just think of an agent as really what they are, your representative. That's what an agent means. It's your representative. Perhaps some of you are familiar with agents in the sports arena. That person is essentially the same as an agent in the publishing industry. They go out representing their clients' interests, fighting for their clients' interests, making sure their clients' needs are met, making sure they meet or exceed their clients' expectations. So this is not someone who's opposing you in the contract negotiations. They're sitting on your side of the table. So you will see a lot of book writers thank their editors and credit their editors, or agents. I keep mixing those terms up. You know what I'm talking about here. Credit their agents for assisting them within this process, because it can be a very weedy, thick, confusing process to navigate the underbelly, if you will, of the publishing world, especially if you're trying to get traditionally published and you can't even knock on the door yourself. There's no door for you to knock on. So it does sometimes feel like you are being forced into getting an agent if you do want a traditional deal, but it is, in my opinion, absolutely in your best effort, in your best interest to hire an agent. They know how to operate in this space. They know what they're doing. They absolutely will be your best advocate if you aren't able to be your own best advocate. So for those of you who are self-publishing, it's kind of the same thing. Now, you're not going to be able to walk up to the door of every publisher like an agent would be able to, but you can still consider yourself your own advocate and think about the role of an agent. They're going to be able to interpret the contract language. Can you do that for yourself if you're going to enter into a contract? They're going to be able to find good fits for you at different publishing houses. They may have developed these relationships with certain editors within the publishing house. You may not have the same access, but think about developing relationships, or think about how you go about researching your options. Are you doing it like an agent would? Are you doing it like you're getting paid? Because you probably will. If you find the best fit, you're going to have the best success, right? That's the theory. So that's just in a nutshell what an agent does for you. Of course, again, not an exclusive list. These things can vary from book to book, agent to agent, author to author. Maybe even an author who has multiple books will get different agents and have a different experience both times, multiple times. So just giving you an idea of what this role is so you understand when you go out looking for an agent what you may expect. In my next video, I want to talk to you about what an agent does not do. It can kind of be inferred here, but I think it's a good discussion to have to set your expectations so that you don't go out there thinking you're going to get something that you're not, or assuming that there is something they're going to provide for you, but they don't. So come back for that discussion, and then we will move on.